Welcome to High Performance, the podcast featuring Josh Fegan and Alexander Phillips. Alexander, today we're going to talk about an important thing about the difference between what we call agent and agency marketing. And agent marketing is around what you do in terms of building profile as an agent, and agency marketing, is obviously about all the things that we do around property and making some of those things happen. So, Alex, what are some of the things that you think are really important that people need to pay attention to, from a marketing perspective, in either property marketing or agency or agent marketing?
I think it probably comes down to, Josh, trying to attract people that you can meet face to face. And, we've spoken about it many times, and it's running a good open home, but it's attracting a lot of people to that open home through your database, through local people, through just listed letters, just sold letters, whatever it might be. And then, those people will come through. And if you're running a good open home and you've got two people there and you've got, obviously recent sales, you're asking the right questions, you then can get their address, then they go in your database, then you start servicing that person. So I think, to me, it's more about the property marketing than yourself. And then off the back of that, you'll build a great database and start to see, obviously, that, more and more mentality creep into, what you do.
Real estate agents often get quite criticised, that they love a photo of themselves, on all of their marketing, from DLs to letters to letterboxes to, billboards and things they've got out the front of schools. What's your thought process around that? Should the photo be bigger or non-existent?
Non-existent. Like, again, Josh, we just spoke about, it's about, the property and getting people through the door. And, that person that lives in a, terrace around the corner, but you've listed a freestanding house and you've just put a, letter in their letterbox, or, you've emailed them because they're already on your database. They may not be looking, but they can come through and they go, this can actually work. We could upgrade into this. And then you go look at their place, and all of a sudden they're selling and they're buying your place, or they don't buy it. And then they've actually go, no, let's sell and put the money in the bank and wait for a freestanding home to come up. So it also helps getting people off the fence. And it's about, I suppose, a lot of people are sitting in their lives and are quite stagnant and are comfortable with where they are. And there are people out there that love to be pushed and love to, like, obviously then, they've paid off their loan, but what's next? But they haven't even thought about it. But you as an agent can help them do that. And then all of a sudden it's another listing.
And I always think about this as ultimately the brand positions the fee, the marketing positions the brand, and marketing is not just what you put out there, but marketing is also the experience that you provide to the customer. And so, you kind of like yelling and shouting at the customer like someone like the reject shop might do, or you're in a position that you already understand and you're quite refined in your marketing, like maybe a Louis Vuitton, and actually positioning yourself really clearly in that marketplace. And I think that a lot of agents say, I want to get my brand out there, I want to get known, I want to do all of those things. Well, you actually do that one trade or one transaction at a time, and the more open for inspections that you have, the more that they actually build social proof. But it's really about the quality. And so first of all, if we break it down and we look at property marketing, the quality of the brochures, the quality of the signboard, the ads in the paper, the quality of the photography, the styling of the home, the videos that are online, like all of those things are really important elements, and that ultimately they dictate the quality of you and your brand. And so it's really important you get that right. But from an agent marketing point of view, are you always trying to attract new, or are you trying to work the existing people that you've already got? Now, Alex, you got to play a delicate balance between those. Which one do you spend more time on in terms of attracting new or trying to work the existing people you've already got?
It's probably, if I was starting out, it's obviously attracting new, but at the moment it's working the existing people that we've got, just to maintain, relationships. You're very easily forgotten in the real estate business. So you need to be, front of mind all the time. So it's also those people can then start, referring your business and then opening up further doors for you.
And I say this to people all the time, that convenience trumps loyalty. Like fundamentally, I enjoy going to Coles, but if Woolworths is right in front of me, I'm just going to walk straight in. And so that's the important part, that, today you might already have an existing relationship that you believe with a potential vendor. All of a sudden they go to an open for inspection on the weekend, they have a great experience with that agent, and before you know it, they've bought that house, that agent's now doing the conversion, and at the same time that he's signing them up, for the purchase of the property, he's then also signing them up for the sale of their home. And I think that this is important about like really learning that your brand and your positioning and where you place that is really important, and that a great business is always in a position that it's marketing. And I was reading an article yesterday that was saying that on average, Coca-Cola is actually in a position that you will see their logo at least 3 to 4 times every single day. And I start to think about that in terms of brand and positioning. How does an agent actually get their logo out there? How do they get into a position that they're in front of the consumer? And that might be, lots of different things. And the world in marketing has changed. It's no longer just a letterbox. It's about being more personal in what it is that you do. It's about that conversation of how are we digitally and how are we socially, because we know that, there was some domain.com.au research that came out recently that 68% of all consumers actually live within 5 kilometers, are buying within 5 kilometers of where they currently live today. Well, that tells me that, demographically, like if we're in that local area and we're supporting the local nippers and we're involved in all of the local community stuff, that makes a massive difference. Now, you're involved in some community sponsorship stuff and in and around the local nippers down at Bronte. Talk to me about how that works and why that's been an important part of being a part of that community.
Well, like you just said, Josh, we actually find that 80% of the sales that I did last year above, say, $4 million in Bronte, which I think was about 35 houses, they all actually live within Bronte or within a kilometre radius. So, because they understand the lifestyle, the recent sales, the benefits of living there, they're used to the area, they know their local butcher, the local news agent, that they will generally outbid everybody that's trying to get into the marketplace. So they're actually forcing people out of that local area. And I think that probably happens across most suburbs, around where we sell. But obviously, by being present in that area with, our, tent set up on the beach every Sunday, our logo on the back of, all the lifeguards, obviously the Bronte newsletter for the Surf Lifesaving Club, and other things that we do. There's just, again, it's like you said, it's, 3 or 4 times a day you're seeing our brand with our signboards, our just listed, our logos. It's just consistently there, and it's sort of, indirectly marketing our brand.
I think this is the big thing, is that for an agent, the lesson here is about the consistency in marketing and not being in a position that you market well one week and then you don't do anything for the next 4 weeks because you're too busy. I think that the reality of it is today is that we are in a position that we need to position a brand. And in order to do that, it's about the quality of what we do and its execution. And I love this, this thought that you brought up, in the reality of it is that where does your customer hang out before they need you? And if you can spend more time hanging out there, then that changes everything inside of your business. And so be really clear that in order to build a good quality business, who are the people that already know lots of people in your area, and where do the majority of the key movers and shakers of your marketplace hang out? And if that's in local school groups, local community groups, if it's local markets, whatever the story is, then be one with your community. And this is why it's such an important part, in that you've got to really live, breathe, and be a part of the community that you're working in, and not just be someone who's sort of comes in, hopes to be successful, and then, darts back out to where you're living, because you don't really want to be involved with the people that you're actually doing trades or transactions with. And sometimes for agents, I say to them, you are so disjointed from where you're currently working, you actually need to move to where you're living to and actually start working there, or actually move from where you're currently living today to where you're working, so then you actually make some much, much better decisions. So really learn that there is an importance here that your execution on a daily basis around what you put out in terms of emails and Instagram and Facebook and the advertising that you're doing on social, what happens in the letterbox, the quality of the signboards, the quality of the brochures, all of those things build a brand story, and that brand story is ultimately what people buy.